So 8 years ago, my husband Andrew and I were just a short way into our parenting journey. We had 2 kids under 3, when our 2.5-year-old, who'd kind of always been slow to gain milestones, suddenly seemed to go into reverse and seemed to lose the developmental skills that he had. Social skills, play skills, verbal skills all seemed to go into reverse. And at probably the same summer, our 1-year-old Anna started to have seizures and was diagnosed with epilepsy. And only for her to kind of get to 2.5 and for the same thing to happen to her, that her development went into reverse, only more severely than Zeke's. And she lost all of her language and her play skills and her social skills. And at that point, both children were very withdrawn, very anxious, very much in their own worlds. Yeah, it was a really, really tough time. And I remember at that point, we realised we had 2 children who'd experienced regression, but were also going to be left with a significant level of special needs for the rest of their lives, really. And kind of at that time, there was this quote being bandied around on Twitter, Charles Spurgeon, saying, "I've learned to kiss the wave that throws me on the rock of ages." And I remember reading it and thinking, good for you, you've learned to kiss that wave. I will never learn to kiss this wave. I will never learn to kiss the wave of regression. Those early days, in terms of faith, were really a fog of lament and grief and confusion about what God was doing and how this could be his plan, how it could be a good plan. And we knew that God had given us an anchor. But God was so gracious to us at that time, really, of revealing himself as the eternal God, the eternal Redeemer, the one who would wipe away every tear from every eye, the one who would resurrect skills that had been lost, things that had been sown perishable would be raised imperishable, and that he would be eternally faithful. And at that time, really, the stuff we were reading in the Bible and worship songs and words led to us daydreaming about eternity and praying to this God of eternity and almost throwing that anchor that he'd given us forward way into the future, and knowing that he would ultimately continue to be faithful and good and kind to us. And now kind of we're a few years on, Zeke's now 11, Anna's 9, and we now have another child called Sam who's 3. And God has really gently revealed himself to us in more recent years, not just as the God of eternity, but as the God who is an ever-present help in times of trouble. And I feel like if our testimony is anything now, it's that we've seen the goodness of God in the land of the living. We've seen the goodness of God in the land of repetition, in the land of hospital appointments, in the land of disability living allowance forms and special schools and sleep deprivation and endless toilet training. He has revealed his goodness and his kindness and his grace to us in that. And also through really the extraordinary kindness of the people that he's placed around us, the churches that he's put us in. He has been so kind to us. He has been so present in times of trouble. And I would be lying to you if I said that every morning I woke up and kissed the wave that throws me on the rock of ages. But I would say that I am getting closer to kissing that wave. And I am increasingly thankful that God hasn't given us the life that we expected. And I'm increasingly convinced really that he's writing a better story than perhaps the one I might have initially chosen. And I would say to people listening today that if you are living in the early days of grief and lament and confusion, cling to the God of eternity, but then watch him demonstrate his power here and now in your life. Watch him be present in your lowest moments, in your valleys. And just to continue to reveal himself to you. God has been so faithful to us, and he really has shown us the goodness of God in the land of the living.